Hello everyone, emergency video here from me, because some big news has just hit during the past week, some earth-shaking news. Apparently, Lucasfilm has once again had a problem with a movie that they're making, and they got rid of the director of Episode 9, Colin Trevorrow, who did Jurassic World and a couple of smaller indie movies. He's out, he's not directing the movie. I am personally relieved. I'm not a big fan of Jurassic World. I saw the Book of Henry. Wasn't great. Didn't see Safety Not Guaranteed, so I can't speak to that. But I didn't have nearly the kind of confidence in him as I would have a lot of the other, projects that I'm interested in seeing. So now the big question is, who are they going to get to make this movie? Now, Jim Gisriel, who I'm a big fan of and makes videos on the regular, he just posted a video a couple of days ago in which he talked about an article that was online, and I will link to that below, link to the article and also Jim's video if you'd like to see it, about the possible candidates for this position. Rian Johnson, of course, is the director of the upcoming Episode 8. They brought in Ron Howard to work on the Han Solo movie. I think they should just call it the Solo movie. I mean, originally it was the directors of the Lego movie, so I just thought, hey, call it the Solo movie. They can do that still. Anyway, people are fairly confident about him, and so a lot of people think that he would be a good candidate. I actually got to go to a live recording of a podcast in the summer of 2014, and it was only just then that Rian Johnson had been hired to make Episode 8. So that was, 2017, 16, 15 and a half. That was like 3.5 years before the movie actually comes out. And if they get Rian Johnson to direct it, he's only going to have 2 years to make it. They could push the release date from summer to Christmas of 2019, right? But still, that wouldn't give him much more time. He's been working on it for almost 4 years. And I think that might be one reason why it's going to be as good as it is. I mean, we're all very confident that it's going to be good. But having him direct Episode 9, even if that's a great idea, under the best of circumstances, these are not the best of circumstances because he's got a much shorter schedule, a lot less prep time. Because at this point, I don't think he was expecting to get asked to direct Episode 9. So it seems kind of unlikely. I don't know if he's going to want to do it. Maybe he will, but I don't know. This article mentions like 27 different people. I wrote their names down on this tiny little piece of paper here because I didn't realize how many it would be. But yeah, they just threw it all out there. Besides Rian Johnson, my two favorite candidates for the job, potential candidates, this is all just speculation, are Lawrence Kasdan, who of course has been a screenwriter on some of the Star Wars movies and Indiana Jones movies, and he's also directed a bunch of films, mostly dramas and comedies. He's got a little bit of action experience with a couple of westerns with Kevin Costner that he's made. And also he directed Dreamcatcher, which I guess is sort of an effects movie. That movie didn't turn out that good. But he is a director, and he's done well with dramas, and he works well with actors, so maybe he would be a good choice. Also, they mentioned Robert Zemeckis. If Robert Zemeckis directed it, I'd be very, very happy. I love Robert Zemeckis. The last few films he's made, I wasn't the hugest fan of. Allied was dull as dishwater, I'm afraid. Sorry to say. But he's had great movies, of course. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Forrest Gump, Back to the Future, What Lies Beneath. I'm a huge fan of What Lies Beneath. So clearly he's got lots of skills. And if they chose him to direct Episode 9, that would be great. This is all just speculation, though. Let me just go through a few of the other names that they mention here. J.J. Abrams, the director of The Force Awakens. Ron Howard, they might get him to do it after he finishes the Han Solo movie. Tony Gilroy, who did a lot of work on Rogue One late in the game, and wrote scenes and maybe did a little bit of unofficial directing, I don't know, but he's a good director as well. And George Lucas. I hope it isn't him. They also mentioned Joe Johnston, who's done films both good and bad, but he's technically very competent. I personally really like Jurassic Park 3 and The Rocketeer. And Chris Columbus, of course, brought us Home Alone, and he directed the first 2 Harry Potter movies and has done a lot of comedies. Not a big fan of his style, but he's a possibility. They talk about a few female directors that might want to do it. Patty Jenkins, who directed Wonder Woman. Ava DuVernay, who directed Selma and this upcoming movie called A Wrinkle in Time. Michelle MacLaren, who has done mostly television, Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones, I guess, or maybe just Breaking Bad, I'm not really sure. Not really up on her filmography, I'm afraid. They mentioned a few other guys like Alfonso Cuarón, the director of Gravity, Guillermo del Toro, who directed a couple of Hellboy movies, as well as, of course, Pan's Labyrinth, Alejandro González Iñárritu, who did Birdman and the one with DiCaprio, The Revenant, right, exactly. Edgar Wright, the director of Baby Driver, Joe Cornish, the director of Attack the Block, Suzanne Bier, who directed episodes of a series called The Night Manager with Tom Hiddleston. They mentioned Ryan Coogler, who is directing Black Panther, Scott Derrickson, the director of Doctor Strange, Taika Waititi, who is directing Thor Ragnarok, which is just about to come out in a couple of months. A couple of Pixar guys, Andrew Stanton and Brad Bird. I love Brad Bird, but his live-action movies really haven't been as good as his animated movies. Andrew Stanton didn't have big success with John Carter, but I really like that movie a lot, so if they chose him, I would be cool with that. They also talked about Matt Reeves, the director of the last 2 Planet of the Apes movies, Sam Mendes, of course, the director of the last 2 James Bond movies, David Yates, director for Harry Potter movies, and James Mangold, who did The Wolverine and Logan. So yeah, that's like... You know, how about they all direct it? How about each one of them makes their own episode 9, and then we'll vote. Instead of voting for a president, we'll vote on which movie makes the best episode 9, and that movie will become canon. What do you think? Good idea, right? Yeah, I'd be curious about any one of these people directing episode 9, because it's Star Wars, but also most of these people are actually really good, and, you know, no matter who does it, I'm going to be curious about it. So, anyway... If you'd like to read that article and then going into all the reasons why each of those people might be a good choice, like I said, I've got the link to that below. Also, if you're a fan of Jenny Nicholson, she did this video last year when Suicide Squad came out, in which she basically plays the character, the woman who basically runs the Suicide Squad. Can't even remember the character's name now, or the actress who plays her. Darn it, I'm stupid. Anyway, she did a whole sort of role-playing thing where she's like pitching the idea of the Suicide Squad to a government agency or something like that. Pretty deadpan humor. Really like her a lot. And since then, she's joined Screen Junkies, and she did a video recently in which she talks about Colin Trevorrow leaving Star Wars and who they might get. And all the reasons why Colin Trevorrow might have left. Really funny video, so I'll link that below as well if you'd like to see it. Just had to sort of get that out there. But like I said, my personal preferences would be, if not Rian Johnson, then either Lawrence Kasdan or Robert Zemeckis, but really a lot of these other guys might be good too. So I'm sure, like all of you, I am very curious to know who they're going to pick for this movie, but I think they should probably wait until after the release of Episode 8, just so everyone can focus on how great Episode 8 is, and then we'll say, okay, Episode 9, 2 years from now, and here's who's directing it, maybe. I don't know. I'm not up on the business or PR or anything like that. I don't know. But just want to get that out there. So yeah, links, of course, below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again real soon. The alert is officially over at this point.